The Square Ball Podcast.
The podcast is brought to you by Levi Solicitors, who will do you 10% off your legal fees at levisolicitors.co.uk/the Square Ball. Dan, Michael, and today Rob in for Moscow on the podcast. A quick heads up that if you want to support us, get TSB Plus, access to all the digital copies of the mag that we've done since 2009. All these podcasts ad-free. We are rolling out ad-free video as well. Access to the match ball after a game, priority access, daily email, discounts on merch at thesquareball.net/plus. Have a look at that. In this part of the show, then, we delve into what's been happening at Leeds United. It's actually been quite a quiet week, despite the misery at Southampton. We'll get onto injuries and the brilliance of Rafinha in a bit, but first, the newest news is all the fixture changes that have happened around the back end of November and, well, the entirety of December, really. And Christmas plans up in the air. They've cancelled Christmas. What are we going to do about it?
It was cancelled by Southampton, wasn't it, really? I think there's no point going on after that.
Oh, God. Nice bright start to the show for you from Michael. Thanks, Michael.
Well, you can buy each other presents, have a nice family meal. What difference is it going to make?
It all ends up in the sea, doesn't it, in the end, anyway?
Exactly. Pathetic. Yeah, they've all moved, haven't they, to some random times, 8:15 kickoff.
How does it affect your Christmas and December and all the rest of it? For example, there's no New Year's Day game. The Burnley game's been moved to Sunday. I should say that the Burnley and the Brentford games have been moved to Sunday 2:00 kickoffs, but that's basically because both Burnley and Brentford, they're playing fixtures that have been moved for telly earlier in the week. Is that right?
And who wants to watch Burnley and Brentford on TV, really? Like, why should that affect our lives?
Well, there is that, but unfortunately, it does affect our lives. Yeah. So no New Year's Day game. Are you pleased about that?
I am pleased about that because it's always terrible. I'm still kind of haunted by memories of watching us in the Championship against Blackburn, and I think my mate threw up on the concourse at half-time because he was incredibly hungover, nearly missed the bus to the game, and then thought he needed a lukewarm burger to sort him out at half-time.
I can't think anything else than that smell of fried onions. I said on a podcast before that smell of fried onions when you're walking down the Lowfields to go under the tunnel, to go under the motorway, that's when I always know I'm home. That's the smell that I most associate with football, and whenever I smell frying onions anywhere, from like a food truck or whatever, it always takes me back to Lowfields Road. But it's absolutely awful smell. I really like fried onions, but there's times when I've got when my unhungover stomach is churning because of pre-football nerves, and I smell that and I go. So I can't think how that sort of smell, fried food, those cardboard burgers, how that's going to help somebody who's severely hungover.
It was a pretty horrendous day. It was freezing, and everyone just sort of created a circle around us of space on the concourse, which I guess was nice, but it was sick there.
Yeah.
What was the result in that one?
Somebody came and cleaned it up.
Hey, very good. I mean, the 12:30 kickoff in Liverpool on Boxing Day is a bit early, isn't it?
It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because on the one hand, it is too early, and it means we'll have to get up, and if you go into it, you're going to have to travel across. Otherwise, we'll be coming in here to watch it, presumably. Which is, with the best will in the world, don't really want to spend Boxing Day with you guys. Sorry.
Well,
mind you, gets me out of the house.
I was going to say, I think by that point, you're kind of ready for an excuse to get out, aren't you, normally? So,
but it gets the misery out of the way earlier.
That is true. Are you suggesting we won't beat Liverpool?
I've got a feeling, based on the evidence so far this season, that it's going to be a difficult ask.
Yes, that is very true. I mean, looking through the December fixtures, it's not good overall, is it? I mean, the Man City game, that's 8 p.m. on BT Sport now. I think, was that always on the Tuesday? I can't remember if that's just moved that might have moved 15 minutes or something, that one.
Right, okay. Because I'm just looking at the Amazon. When have Amazon got the ones this season? Because last time it was mid-December, like mid-January, wasn't it? They had their round of fixtures. I don't know. It's all carved up the TV, isn't it? There's Amazon and BT and Sky and all the rest of it.
I must say the Premier League have completely shat on a load of people here, though, because they should have announced this, I think, over a week ago, and they've delayed it till they've got to this point, and people have booked flights and hotels and all sorts of stuff, and then they just throw it all up in the air, which is what Rob's mate did. So yeah, it's kind of crap for people, isn't it, that you end up having all these things moved around. Obviously, for us living locally, it's not the end of the world. And because we don't have lives anyway, because we've got wives and kids, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Rob sat
Speak
there.
for yourself.
Yeah.
I've no real nights out planned around any of this. Although Leeds Arsenal on a Saturday evening will be lively. I would
Imagine
say.
what town's going to be like on that particular evening.
And morning.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh God, yeah. It'll be an all day, won't it? The old AFD there. Yeah, that's the last Saturday before Christmas, isn't it? I imagine we'll all be very, very well behaved.
I mean, it's Arsenal, so they've got a nice group of lads, haven't they? Supporting them. Yeah, exactly. Maybe a few of them yelling at TVs and stuff, but probably at Ellen Road there won't be any of those people, so it'll be calm enough, I would think.
Crystal Palace one as well, kicking off at 8:15 means a very, very late finish.
You looking forward to the match ball on that one?
Yeah.
God, I didn't even think of that.
Because it's probably going to be cold, I assume, by that time. Mind you, global warming's knackered everything, hasn't it? It'll probably be about 20 degrees.
I'm hoping the seas do take us after the week the week we've had. Hopefully it'll be enough to get the season abandoned.
Just praying for that tsunami to come in.
Exactly.
Just wash it all away.
Admittedly, it's got a fair way to reach Leeds. Probably there'll probably be bigger issues in the country if Leeds starts to flood.
It's funny, isn't it? Because you would sit there and go, I can start to plan my Christmas now and look forward to this, and I'll get this evening with my mates and we'll have some beers at this one. But because we lost to Southampton, none of it, absolutely none of it looks appealing whatsoever. I don't want to do it.
It'll be fine, won't it?
Guess so.
Probably.
Well, we're in that football's terrible mindset. Under 23s, what's happened to them? They've totally Leedsed it in, haven't they?
I was looking forward to watching that last night, and then it didn't get broadcast. Apparently, they can't broadcast 23's fixtures if it clashes with a Premier League game, and I think it's probably for the best that we weren't able to watch that in the end, because we went 2-0 up early on after 36 minutes and then lost 4-2 in the end. I was looking at the club's Twitter account today, and they played it quite well because they tweeted the team. They tweeted some pictures of Amari Miller after he scored, and then it was full-time 4-2 defeat, which I think read the room well there.
I mean, 36 minutes after after Greenwood scored, I mean, I am saying put Jackson in and play the kids full-time. Play the younger kids, the under-18s, never mind this lot. Yeah, it's not gone well, has it, this week? But I suppose it's nice that we scored twice.
Hey, one of the things that we didn't cover on over on Propaganda was about Rafinha coming back in. Would you have put him in on the bench against Southampton just in case? Just as an option? Because then, if you need 10 or 20 minutes out of him, and I know they wanted to avoid the risk of injury, and we're saying this with the benefit of hindsight, but all that said, would you have benched him? It
seemed odd to rush him back to not, was what I thought. Because he was in
the... They put him on a fancy plane as well, didn't they?
And he was in the stadium, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So, is he...
There were lots of Leeds fans in the stadium, but would you have put those on the bench?
Well, no, but he's just proved himself to be the best player in the world, like 48 hours before. So, yeah, I must admit, given the strength of the bench as well, I would have had him on there because, were we really ever going to bring Hjelde on? Was he going to be an option at any point?
Rob touched on this in Propaganda, like the notion that Bielsa considers everybody equal in the first team squad, the 23, if you like. It's not necessarily all that true, is it?
No,
you have to do a lot to clear that hurdle as an under 23.
He has himself spoken about the hierarchy as well, which kind of dispels that notion. I mean, he said it with Shackleton in the summer. He's a year older, so he's moved up in the hierarchy. So yeah, I mean, maybe it would have helped to have Rafinha there, but I mean, you've travelled back from South America. How are you feeling after that? Like,
I don't think I did it on such a fancy plane. I mean, this plane had bedrooms on, didn't it?
Did yours?
It did not. No, and it had
chickens on it and stuff like that. Where you sat on a crate.
No, I mean, it was a genuine
proper,
real plane.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'd have had him on for 20 minutes just to do something because no one did anything in that game.
Given how well he played for Brazil as well, and you think he might be riding the crest of a wave, like he was painstakingly good for Brazil, and Neymar is now his best mate, and he'd have had to fly back with Fabinho or whatever, trying to get him to move to Liverpool. So maybe we should have just got him on the pitch in a Leeds shirt and just let him prove a point.
I guess that the problem is, though, the tendency is that you might think, well, we'll put him on after 45 minutes because it's been so woeful, and then you do risk an injury. So I don't know.
I'm sure they do. They'll probably do assessments, won't they?
Do you mean, are you suggesting there's science behind this?
Probably. I mean, you don't want a Warnock Byram situation, do you? Where you just go, he's our best player, he plays regardless, and then you.
I know it felt like the world was collapsing on Saturday when Southampton beat us and we were so woeful. But there is a bigger picture here, and that is that we'd rather have him against Wolves than not, and then for the rest of the season. Although, are you prepared to injure Phillips and Rafinha at the back end of the season, assuming we're safe, so they can't go anywhere?
Oh, for that? I thought when you started asking that, I thought you were going to say, if we need the wins, are you prepared to risk them? And it's towards the end of the season.
No.
And I was going to say, maybe. But yeah, I mean, to stop them being sold.
If we can't have them, no one can, and we break them.
It does seem a bit spiteful.
Well, that was the thing with waking up every morning after Rafinha had played for Brazil and checking my phone and then being like, just one assist is fine. Just one goal is fine. Stop being brilliant all the time.
Show off.
It's just, we talked about Rafinha a couple of weeks back on the podcast, maybe about 3 weeks ago, and we said he's brilliant, but on the evidence, you wonder if he's just at the elite level just yet. Because I think this was based on maybe just his decision-making in crucial moments. You saw, like, in Premier League games this season where you'd hope for just a slightly better shot or, whatever it might be, just those marginal things. And I think he's obviously completely put that argument to bed because he's tearing it up for Brazil. And maybe he just needs better players around him.
Well, Neymar absolutely loves him already. He's played the game against Uruguay when they were both starting together. You could see he just absolutely fell in love with him. And even the rest of the Brazil team, for the first 10 minutes or so, they were always passing to Neymar, always down the left side. And then as they started to pass to Rafinha more, he did great things. And it was like they started to realise, like, oh, shit, he's really good. Let's keep giving the ball to him instead. Which I think helped Neymar in the end. And I think that's probably why they seem to enjoy each other's company so much.
Yeah, there seems to be like a school of thought that football's gone so tactical that players who can just kind of knock it past a man and beat them are almost a rarity these days, particularly in Brazilian football. But he's brilliant, isn't he? Yeah. I'm trying not to fall in love because I think we know how this probably ends. But I am just trying to enjoy him while he's here. And I know that's a really pragmatic and unromantic way to look at it, but he is brilliant, and let's enjoy him while he's doing it for us.
Well, we're currently putting together me and you have nothing to do with it, Dan. Other people are currently putting together the Square Ball calendar out there. And
2 calendars, actually, which will be available soon, you'd hope, before the end of the year.
But I think, was it you that flagged up that Rafinha's
in December?
In December. And you're like,
I'm even a bit sceptical about Phillips being in July.
God. It's that. I mean, that was the tradition of the official club calendar, wasn't it? That you'd have like Ross McCormack there in October while he's playing for Fulham or whatever, and it was, I guess we're sticking with that sort of. We definitely did this recently as well when there was definitely a calendar where we'd sold someone by the time the page came around. I can't remember. I mean, this year we've had Pablo and stuff, but I mean, Pablo's timeless now, isn't he? He can always have a place on the calendar for me.
Yeah, no, it's funny, isn't it? I think I spoke over on Propaganda about the nihilism that consumes me when Leeds lose, and I think a lot of people share that. They just hate the whole thing. Football's the worst sport in the world. And I think, like, having watched Newcastle and just I think I described it as like hyper-realism, the madness of everything that's gone on there, and like all the Geordies running around in like the headgear and waving Saudi Arabian flags, which is mental to my eyes. Just made me hate football over the weekend. Started by Leeds, seeing all that. Anton Deck sat there in front of Amanda Staveley, and I know it's wrong to shame someone for their appearance, right? But she does look a bit strange. There's no getting away from it. She's got an odd look about her because of the work she appears to have had done. So kind of just it all felt very, very hyper real on Sunday with Newcastle, and just knowing that we're going to probably have to sell our best players at some point just made me think, what's the point in any of this?
There was a comfort to having Luke Varney and not having to worry about Deco trying to sell him to Liverpool.
Nobody wants him.
Like that. Yeah, exactly.
Stinking the place out. Can't get rid of him.
He's ours.
It turns out it was for the best. But it's true. It's like, well, I can't fall in love with these players because it just feels like they're going to leave me and hurt me again. And we've been hurt too many times before.
Not got a Brazil shirt with Rafinha on then?
I didn't.
No.
And I'd look ridiculous in a Brazil shirt. I'm far too old. Far too old for that. Anyway, let's talk about the injuries and Calvin Phillips, because he was out. Although it looked like his shirt laid out in the dressing room ahead of Southampton. I did see photographs.
Was that as a mark of respect because he's injured and never going to play again?
But at least he can't leave us then, can he?
That's true. I mean, he seems to have a calf problem and a hip problem, which is a bit worrying.
That's 2 problems.
They're joined together, according to Bielsa.
Yeah,
so,
well, they are.
Which is
undeniable. Part of the leg. Have you heard of the leg?
Yeah.
The whole leg system.
The leg unit.
Are you the finishing coach and you're the physio? Is that how it's working?
Yeah, musculoskeletal stuff
is that a body problem you've got? Okay.
But a lot of the hard kicking that you do talk about, Michael, does happen via the leg unit.
It takes a strain on all the muscles of the leg as well, in the bones and the tendons. the cartilage.
What would you do to sort out his, what's he got, a calf and a, what's the other bit?
His hip.
Hip.
I'd strengthen him.
How?
Just exercises.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you which ones.
Go on. Just give us a hint.
Hip dips.
Yeah.
I'd have him doing the hip dips and the calf expansions.
Uh-huh. I'll fix it with it.
That's all he
How
needs.
soon will he be back?
It depends how many hip dips he does.
Let's say just 4.
I'd have him doing. Just do the maths. 6 sets of 8 is what he needs to do
48
on the hip dips.
Yeah,
and then it'd be good as gold after that.
Yeah, what happens if he does 47? It's just on the bench.
Yeah, well, it might end his career if he does that.
Oh, okay.
Follow the. It's like when you get a prescription medicine.
Yeah.
You take your full course. You don't have less. You don't have more.
Mm-hmm.
You do exactly as prescribed.
Yeah,
and then it'd be fine.
Excellent.
How is your new personal training business?
It's all right. I'm getting a lot of hip dip work because most people don't know about them.
Right. Just to extend what we're talking about, Bamford's got an ankle problem, which is also part of the leg unit.
Yep.
What about?
What's he doing?
What's wrong with it, and how would you fix it? Because Bielsa said he's got a problem with his ankle, which we informed previously, and his recovery is subject to the evolution of the injury. If I anticipated a date, it wouldn't be because I have arguments to do so, because the evolution we have to control is on a day-to-day. Does that mean they're seeing every day what it's like and judging it? Is that what he means?
Probably.
Right.
He's got chubby ankles. That's what I'm.
Is that the?
And he therefore looks bad in a heel.
Right. So what you said? Put him in flats, and that'll
put him in flats for now,
Uh-huh.
and he can work up to the stilettos again.
Yep. Great.
I didn't expect to hear this to be.
It's good. Oh, great.
To be coming. To be honest.
But let's talk about.
Oh God, there's more.
Ayling's had surgery. Do you know what he's had surgery on?
His knee.
Right. Also
part of the leg.
Yeah.
Part of the leg system.
So you've got a dicky knee, so you'll know about knees.
Yeah, I've not been able to fix mine yet.
Yeah. What's wrong with it?
The cap.
Mm-hmm.
The cap's it's loose. Got a loose cap. Just needs it. I'm gonna have it tightened up.
Is that what Ayling's got?
Yeah, he's had it taken off. They're blown in it like a SNES cartridge, and then they're gonna.
That's a nice reference to the kids.
Then they're gonna put it back on, and it's all gonna be. It's gonna load. It's gonna load fine now.
Yep. No problems. Excellent. And Cox surgery, the old Cox surgery.
That was the pubis, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's had all.
Is the pubis classed as part of the leg unit? I know it's attached to it.
It was rebellious before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's had all that knocked out of it.
Okay.
They've shaken it.
Giving it a little word in its ear.
Mm-hmm.
The ear of the pubis.
Yep.
Excellent. Thanks for that. So when's he back?
Oh, not for a while.
Right.
A few weeks.
You reckon?
Yeah, I reckon so.
What do we need to do just to make sure that he's all right?
Blowing his pubis.
Okay. Really?
Same. Yep.
Works for you.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Michael. Appreciate your input.
No worries.
The Square Ball Podcast.